Hey guys, and welcome to Should You Buy It, where all we do is talk a little bit about the game and tell you whether or not we think it's worth the cost. In this episode, we'll be playing Dinkum, the open-world life sim game where your goal is to create a flourishing town for not just yourself, but also your friends. Now, the first question that we always cover in these videos is what stage of development is the game in? And in this case, Dinkum is currently in early access and available on PC for $20. Now, if you guys want to save money on games, you should check out Humble Bundle in the description below. Humble Bundle will not only help to give you a discount on games sometimes, but will also help charity and support this channel. Everything you purchase on Humble Bundle will go towards helping a charity, helping our channel, and giving you some kind of a discount if there's a discount running on that game, which they have tons of discounts that Steam does not all the time. And again, if you want to save money, just check out Humble Bundle down below by clicking the link. So what exactly is the game? Well, in Dinkum, you will leave the safety of South City and set forth into a world that has not been explored in a very long time. You'll quickly find yourself in the middle of nowhere and be helped along by your trusty companion Fletch. The game will start out by having you do all the basic things like setting up a place to sleep and making a place for your first visitor. After this, you'll then be set loose out into the world of Dinkum and be allowed to explore as well as experience it. Dinkum has many important mechanics that all intertwine with each other, such as licensing, doing skills, collecting, earning money, crafting, and more. Let's go ahead and start off by just talking about the licensing since it's such an integral part of the game. Licensing is a mechanic that allows you to unlock higher tiers of capability within a certain skill. This means if you want to chop down a tree, you'll need a logging license, or if you want to say mine a rock, you'll need a mining license. There are tons of obtainable licenses in the game, such as fishing, excavation, hunting, trapping, farming, handling, cargo, tool belt, landscaping, building, vehicle, and much more. Most of these licenses even have additional tiers to them that are unlocked through spending permit points as well as leveling your skill in that category. Now, you may be thinking that this is probably going to take a lot of grinding to unlock, and you'd be correct. You will need thousands of permit points in order to unlock all the licenses that the game has to offer. Luckily, there are a few different ways that you can get permit points so it won't get too boring. You can do things like finding new species of fish and bugs to then turn into the museum for 100 permit points. You can do daily tasks for anywhere from 20 to over 100 permit points, or maybe you want to work towards a bigger goal like milestones, which are large tasks that require a certain amount of doing something, like say collecting 250 seashells or running a certain distance, maybe even just growing a certain amount of plants. Now, the last two options you have to get permit points will be either trading in 500 dinks, which is the in-game currency, for 1 permit point at the bank, or just simply making friends with your neighbors. Speaking of which, making friends with your neighbors plays an integral part in the game's progression and gameplay loop. You see, each time you talk to an NPC, complete a task for them, or purchase items from them, you will be awarded with a higher reputation. After reaching a certain point with that reputation, you will cause them to want to move into your town permanently. For them to do this, you'll need to purchase them a deed, which can cost a large amount of dinks, and then provide the construction materials required. This creates the game's main progression loop, but is by no means the only goal you want to achieve, as Dinkum provides many different ways for you to progress. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and start with the pros and cons section of this video. First up for the pros is the high amount of replayability and in-depth progression options. Now, when we're talking about replayability, this directly connects to our in-depth gameplay and the different options we have available. If you like making friends, then you can go ahead and do that, or if you just want to work towards big milestones, that's an option too. The game has tons of ways for you to progress, whether it's unlocking recipes, progressing by getting more people in the town, or just leveling up your skills. Next up is that the game has a lot more options when it comes to skills, crafting, and combat when compared to some of its predecessors. For an example, you're able to craft vehicles and use them to travel around the map much faster, which is just something we don't really see in similar titles. After that is that the relationships that you build in the game feel meaningful and impactful to your gameplay. For an example, once you get people's relationships to a certain point, they will even offer to hang out with you on their day off, and then help you out with a variety of tasks while doing so. Finally is the fact that while the multiplayer isn't perfect, it allows you to play with friends in a meaningful way and still interact with the world. You can even have your friends build relationships with the people in your town, donate to the museum, or even just contribute to the overall progression of the island. Now for the cons. And I honestly really only have one con for you guys today, and that's the fact that you can't play on your friend's servers while the host is not online. And this doesn't mean you can't still do stuff in your own world in order to preemptively try to progress to bring things over to your friend's world. It just means that in order to play and interact with a world that a friend is hosting, they must be online for you to do so. This can be a bit unfortunate, but it doesn't totally destroy the multiplayer in any way, shape, or form. It's just something that would definitely improve upon the gameplay. So now it's time for the rating for the game. And when we rate games, we want to get 1 hour of enjoyment out of every $1 that the game costs. So for this game in particular, in Dinkum, we would want to get 20 hours of enjoyment out of the $20 cost for the game. And after putting several played hours into this game, we give it 9 out of 10 potatoes. Dinkum was an incredibly fun game that was clearly inspired by its predecessors. It brings a new layer of depth to the casual survival and adventure genre, as well as continues to provide a strong sense of progression. Yes, you may not be able to play on your friend's world when they're away, but the overwhelmingly fun mechanics and the fact that the game is still in early access, which means even more content is planned to be released for it, makes it so that I feel that Dinkum is without a doubt worth the cost. Now before you go, I do want to give a big shout out to our Platinum and Above channel members, which currently include Caustic FPV, Jonathan S, Gerald G, and Jim Phillips. If you want to get your name on this list, make sure to go ahead and hit the join button down below, where you can become a member and get your name up here too. Otherwise, thank you all so much for supporting me and just for watching this video. I'm Game Advisor, and I'll see you next time.